The beginning. Okay. Good evening, everyone. JD is here, and today's class is on marketing yourself to colleges and specifically to the college fair, because the college fair is coming up in just a couple days. It's going to be April 2nd, Sunday. We'll go over some more details on that in just a moment. So in this class, we'll talk about how to market or sell yourself, influence to the colleges to increase your chances of admission and scholarships. We'll also talk about the 17 tips to make the most of your college fair. So intentional, I love this word, and it's an adjective and is a function word that depends on something or another word. We have to be intentional about things. We have to be intentional about our grades, intentional about our test scores, our involvement with clubs, and our be intentional about our college selection, and be intentional when we go to the college fair. So first, we want to make ourselves a great candidate for colleges, an easy to recruit candidate. So figure out which college on your list is the hardest school to get into that has the highest requirements. Then you want to position yourself for admission to that college. And then once you hit those parameters, by default, you have everything necessary for each college that falls below that mark. Okay. If you need help with creating a college list, please do contact me. So the 5 things that colleges are looking for. The first one is grades. They're going to look at your GPA and your grades. It's going to be your unweighted GPA that colleges look at. So get the best unweighted GPA that you can. Second thing that colleges may look at, and this is important for highly selective colleges. So if you're considering applying to a highly selective college, then class rank is another category that colleges, highly selective colleges are going to look at. So to increase your class rank, take the most AP, honors, dual credit, or IB classes that you can and get a high grade in these classes. The extra GPA points for taking these advanced classes can increase your class rank. However, it's still the unweighted GPA that colleges are going to look at for admission. The weighted GPA determines your class rank. The third thing that colleges are going to look at is test scores. And the tests are not going away. Ask yourself this question: why would a college go test optional or test blind? Test optional means if you give the college your test score, they'll look at it, but students can still be admitted without test scores. Or test blind means that the college is not even going to look at the test score. So ask yourself that question: why would a college go test optional? And the main reason why some colleges are test optional or even test blind is so the college can get more and more students to apply. Every application has an application fee. So when UCLA dropped the test requirements, their number of applications skyrocketed. This last year, UCLA had 118,000 students apply, and it costs $70 to apply. So when you do the math on that, $70 times 118,000 is $8.2 million that was generated just in application fees. So yeah, colleges do these things for really to make money. So do take the SAT and ACT multiple times and then get the best score you can. And also plan on sitting in on the Beat the Test class the next time I offer that one. The fourth thing that colleges are going to look at is activities, both in school and outside of school. They want to know who you are, and they're going to figure that out and find that out when they review your resume. So colleges look at the clubs, activities, hobbies, and interests that you're involved with. So be strategic with the things that you do. If you need help choosing which activities to make your resume pop and stand out, schedule a meeting with me. We'll talk about some different ideas. Also, be a leader in one or more of these activities. Leader doesn't always mean that it's an elected position, president or treasurer. Yeah, those are good, but it could be that you just take charge or offer positive influence and suggestions. That's also another form of leadership. Leadership also means responsibility. So if you're responsible for something within the club, activity, hobby, or interest, then it's considered leadership. The fifth thing is passion. Having a passion for something is another way to show leadership. And having a single passion about one or maybe two things. So you don't have to be class president to show leadership. Being employed is a way to show leadership, because what's another word for leadership? Responsibility. So when you're employed, you have responsibility. Helping out little kids is also another way of showing leadership, because you're responsible for those kids. So colleges would prefer to see a student who's lopsided as opposed to well-rounded. And you probably heard some people and others talk about colleges are looking for well-rounded students. Well, well-rounded means a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So what happens when you mix paint and add a little bit of every color? It turns into this icky brown color. So colleges don't want that. They want lopsided students, students who have a focus on one or two things. So I'm going to read this essay from Laura. We call it the babysitter essay. And when I finish reading this essay, I'm going to talk about some of the things that are highlighted that are in here. So over the past 6 years that I have been babysitting, I have noticed one major complaint among parents of the children I watch. Their car seats are hard to install and use correctly, and are a nuisance in their everyday lives with their children. Many of these parents resort to installing and using their car seats improperly because they are complicated. They also do not realize their tremendous importance. This is one major reason that car accidents are the #1 killer of children in the United States. I have been researching child passenger safety since middle school, when I learned of this frightening statistic. Child passenger safety is my passion. The loss of a child is tragic and something that no family should ever have to experience, especially as a result of something preventable like injuries from a car accident. In an effort to try and turn these numbers around, I plan to become a child passenger safety technician when I turn 18. I would be trained to install car seats and in turn teach parents to install their specific car seats and use them correctly. However, I would like to take my passion for child passenger safety one step further by becoming an engineer. I hope to one day help advance the field of child passenger safety. In working with the child seat companies, my main goal would be to create an extremely easy to use car seat that is safe, reliable, and hard to misuse. I hope that this could reverse the statistic of car accidents being the #1 killer of children in the United States. When I know that I have saved just one child from the death as a result of a car accident, I will feel that my goal has been accomplished. Through public education, improved child passenger safety law, and improved child seats, I believe a revolution can be made in keeping children safer in the car. I'd be thrilled to play a part in that revolution. Car accidents do not have to be the #1 killer of children in America. So the first thing that I want to point out is the vocabulary that she uses in this essay is hers. If you typically talk with and use 3 and 4 and 5 syllable words, then of course use those. But this is her vocabulary. Second is it's highlighted, I have been researching. What that does is that shows the college that she wants to learn. So and what is a college? A college is a place where you go and you learn. The next one that's highlighted is I plan to become a child passenger safety technician. So her birthday was in November. She applied to the college in late August. And in November, when she turned 18, she went to the fire department and got car seat installer certified. As soon as she got that certification, she sent an email to all of the colleges that she applied to and updated them. Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm now a child passenger safety technician and I have that certificate. The next highlight is become an engineer. That ties it back to the college. And the last part is that the last paragraph does reiterate from the beginning, the last sentence, and just kind of ties everything nicely together. So Laura showcased her passion for safety, engineering, and children in her essay. But how do I grow my passion? The simple answer to develop a passion is to learn more about it, whatever it is. The more you learn about it, the more you appreciate it. The more you appreciate it, the greater your passion is going to be for that. So what are you interested in? So to develop your passion, start with your interests. When you're not doing homework, schoolwork, what can we find you doing? Maybe that's your passion. What hobbies and interests do you have and do you enjoy? Maybe that's your passion. What kind of things do you research online and offline? Maybe that's your passion. If you want to talk about developing your passion, please schedule an appointment with me. I'll be happy to go over some and talk to you and come up with some different ideas. So my story is how I developed a passion for motorcycles is when I was in college, I had several friends who had motorcycles and I was interested. And I ended up picking up some magazines on the topic, read some books about it. I would have browsed the internet, but we didn't have the internet back then. But I learned more about it. I attended events, went to motorcycle races, went to motorcycle shows. The more I learned about it, the more I appreciate it. And the Honda 550 here was my first motorcycle. And I eventually got one of these, which was blazing fast, Honda CBR 600. And that passion for motorcycles led me to doing some motorcycle racing. I became the more passionate I became with this sport, and the more I learned about it, I ended up wanting to do a little bit of drag racing with it. And that, and then one passion can lead you to another. So my passion for motorcycles and motorcycle racing led me to endurance car racing. And that's a picture of me and my team. We took second place last June at Willow Springs Raceway in California. So where will your passion take you? Let's talk a little about communication etiquette. You can pick up a copy of this book, The Official Book of Electronic Etiquette, or you could just pay attention. When you're conveying your passion to colleges, you may talk to somebody or you may email a college representative. And when you are communicating with a college, imagine that the person that you are corresponding with is a stuffy old English professor who grades everything. So when you're communicating with that person, whether it be speaking to that person or you are typing out an email or writing a letter or so, use complete sentences. Proper grammar, punctuation, and spelling matters. So those things matter verbally and written. These things will have influence on a college admission and college scholarships. Don't use abbreviations. Spell out the word. Some people may not understand what your abbreviations are. To provide clarity, use complete sentences and spell out the words. So when you talk to someone, learn to answer in a complete sentence. Answering in a complete sentence clarifies your meaning. When you communicate with a college via email, and please check your email on a regular basis, use an email account that you control. A school-issued email account may be turned off when you graduate high school. And I can pretty much guarantee and promise that you will get an important email sometime in June after you've graduated high school. And that email will be to sign up for college orientation, or it might be to fill out a form to match you with a roommate or something like that. If you don't have an email account that you control, go create one. You can create one through Gmail or Yahoo or any other dozen of email sources. Create a simple professional email address and check that account daily. One of my students had an email, and it was beerdrinker123@whatever.com. And it was funny if you knew him, but we don't want the college to think, oh, this person's underage consuming alcohol. We don't even want to go there. So make sure that it's a professional email address, johnsmith@gmail.com or jdwyzolek@gmail.com or something simple and professional like that. And create a signature file for your email. A signature file is added at the bottom of every email that you send. And you can put anything in there. And what I'm going to ask you to put in the signature file is your full contact information, your first and last name, your address, your phone number, and your email address. So include all that information. This will make it easy for the college or recruiters to get back to you. What will happen is a college might go, oh, I know I was talking to JD, he's in Arizona, and we're going to be there, next week at the Hilton in Scottsdale. They'll send me an email and say, hey, JD, we're going to be at this venue. Why don't you come out and listen to us talk for a little bit? So if your email and phone number is on everything that you send them, it will make it easier for them to get back in touch with you. Keep your social sites clean language and clean photos, no hate speech. Students have been rejected based on the information that college recruiters find on social platforms. Yes, colleges and future employers check social platforms. So be intentional about your online presence. Make sure that everything is squeaky clean. When you text someone, include your full name on there, okay? Occasionally I'll get a text with a request to meet or review something, and I don't know who it is. So someone sent me a text a little while ago, hey, JD, I'd like to meet and talk to you. I'm like, okay, who are you and what do you want to talk about? So a lot of colleges are communicating via text, and if a college recruiter sends you a text and you reply back, please put your full name at the end. And the reason is because sometimes the recruiter may text 100 or more students. When you send a text with your full name, it just makes it easier for the recruiter. We want to make it easy as possible for the recruiter to do his or her job. If you make it easy for them, you can increase your chances of admission and scholarships. So a little bit more on the what, how, why, and when. There's a couple terms that you need to be familiar with. The first one is demonstrated interest. And that's exactly what it sounds like. You're showing the college, hey, I'm interested in your school. And there's a proper way to demonstrate interest. And we're going to talk about that as we progress through today's meeting. So demonstrated interest, it is important because of yield. And yield is a percentage of accepted students who actually enroll in the college. Every college tracks their yield numbers. And a few years back, Yale, their yield numbers were dropping, and they dropped 10%, which is significant. And they went back and they're like, okay, what did we do? What changed that caused our yield numbers to drop? Whatever that is, let's go back to the old model and have strong yield numbers again. Okay. So here's an example of yield in Arizona. NAU, Northern Arizona University, up in Flagstaff, they have the lowest yield of all the state schools here, and it's 20%. What that means is for every 5 students they admit, 4 end up choosing to go somewhere else, and 1 out of the 5 chooses to go to NAU. And what NAU wants to do is they want to admit students who are most likely to say yes, because it costs money to track these, really to try and recruit these students. Colleges want to control their costs by admitting students who are more likely to say yes if that student is admitted. So colleges will do this by tracking which students have demonstrated interest and which ones have demonstrated more interest, and which students have not demonstrated interest at all. So please demonstrate interest at every college. So now that you know these things are important, the next thing is to implement a plan. Colleges who value demonstrated interest and yield are going to track every student who comes in contact with their institution. So how do we get on the college's radar? It's really kind of simple. It's go to the college's website, and in the search window, type in request for information, and then fill out the form. And on the screen is an example of a request for information form. It's going to ask you for your name, address, phone number, email, and it may ask you some other information. Whatever information that they're asking for, please give them that information. Some things that colleges might ask is they might ask what major you might be intending to study there. They might ask what your GPA is or your test scores. Again, if you, whatever it is that they're asking for, give them that information. The only one that I'd be reluctant to give would be the test scores until we know that we've got a good solid test score. So go to the college's website, in the search window, type in request for information. It should bring you to a form like this. If you can't find the form, you, the student, call the school up on the phone and say, hey, I'd like some information from your school. Can you send me anything? And they'll say, yes, sure. What's your phone number? What's your name, email address, etc. That will get you on their mailing list, and we want to get on their mailing list. If you are getting anything from a college right now, whether it be email, flyers, brochures, or anything like that, and you did not fill out the request for information form, you are on their prospect list. To get off of their prospect list and to get onto the hot list, fill out the request for information form. So the purpose of the college fair is several things. So go to the college fair that's coming up in the next couple days. The purpose of the college fair is 2 things. One is to get information about the college. And you're going to get that information by picking up the flyers and brochures and by asking the recruiter some questions. And the second objective is to meet the college representative, or sometimes they're called the college recruiter. Meet that person. It will be the college representative, or it will be the college representative and a panel of people who make the decision of admission and scholarships. So getting to know this person can increase your chances of admission. There's 2 fairs. There's a fall fair, which is usually in September or October. I'll send out an email and text message when it's time to go to that fair. And then there is the spring fair, which is usually in April. And then sometimes high schools may have fairs, or a college recruiter may visit the high school campus. Whatever, if your school's having a fair, or if a recruiter's coming to your high school campus and it is a college that you are interested in, please go and talk and meet that recruiter. So let's talk about the 17 tips on how to make the most of the college fair. Before you go to the fair, and the spring college fair is going to be Sunday, April 2nd, It's at ASU's campus, and it's going to be in the Sun Devil Fitness Complex. If you are outside of Arizona, just go online and look up fairs in your area. So before you go to the fair, tip number 1 is register for the college fair. And after the class today, I will send out another text message with a link to sign up for the college fair. And there's I forget the website, strivescan.com or so. I'll send out a text message and also put it in the description box for this video. When you register online, the form is going to ask you some personal information, your name, your address, phone number, email. It might ask you what your GPA is. It might ask you what your test score is. Whatever information, again, give them that information, especially if you've got a good, solid test score. And once you fill that out, it will create a barcode that you can either print out or save on your phone. Then as you go from booth to booth at the college fair, the college representative will have a barcode reader to scan and capture contact information. This way you're not going to be filling out cards, handwriting your name and address for the 10 or 20 or 30 different colleges that you go and visit during the college fair. So by filling this out, the recruiter will have their scanner and they'll scan it and capture your information. And we want them to do that. Okay. So that is before the fair, do that. Number 2 is before the fair, check the roster to see which colleges will be in attendance and which colleges you want to go talk to. So also in the description box will be the link to the Spring College Fair in Phoenix. It's on my website, azcollegeplanning.com/Phoenix Spring College Fair. Review the attending list in advance so you can identify which schools you want to learn more about. This way you can make priorities to visit those special booths. Tip number 3, before the college fair, create a plan. Some college fairs will give you a map. So check the map and see where each of the college booths are, then make a beeline to those college booths. Also pick 2 or 3 colleges that you haven't heard of and go talk to them. Who knows, it might be a perfect fit. So check out the colleges you're interested in first, and then look at 2 or 3 more colleges that you haven't heard of, again, depending on time. Tip number 4, before you go to the college fair, prepare with a list of questions. If you don't know what questions to ask, in the description box is going to be a list of questions. Print this out, circle or highlight whichever questions are important to you, and then ask those questions. One question that's an important question to ask when you are talking to an out-of-state college is, how accessible is your college to some form of major transportation, airport, bus, or train station? So you want to find out, how long is it going to take to get from the airport to their campus? Tip number 5 is forge your own path, and don't be afraid to split up from your friends and your parents. In fact, ditch your parents. Parents, it's okay for you to go to the college fair, but don't be the one that engages with the college representative because the college wants to admit your student, not you, the parent. I was at the college fair a little while ago, and I overheard a parent talking to the college recruiter, and the college recruiter said, "Oh, where is your student?" And the mom said, "Oh, he's not here." What that tells the college recruiter is that that event wasn't important to the student. That's definitely a negative. Tip number 6 is bring a tote bag or a backpack or something that you can carry the materials that you're going to collect from the college fair. Some venues only allow clear or see-through bags and clear backpacks. Check with the venue first to see what type of bag is allowed. Brochures and similar marketing materials are common at college fairs. Pick up any and all printed material. Bring some kind of bag. You can stuff all that stuff, Bring some stuff. Let me start that sentence over again. Bring some kind of bag that you can carry all that stuff. Sometimes a college will have a bag or something to give you so you can carry all that stuff. If they do have something or not, it's best to be prepared. Here's a big tip, and dress appropriately. Tip number 7. By dressing up a little bit. Now, you don't have to wear a 3-piece suit or a tux, but dressing up a little bit, you will show the college that you are taking this seriously. What you're wearing helps to form the first impression that representatives will have of you. You want to present an image that is professional and well put together. When talking to the representative, remember to smile and look them in the eyes. Eye contact is important to convey that you are interested in attending their school. And don't wear any shirts or hats that have any other college name on it or a college logo. So wearing a University of Oregon shirt while you're talking to Loyola University, not a good thing. So let's talk about some tips during the college fair. Tip number 8 is get there right as it opens. Some college fairs are just a few hours and some are going to be all day. So this particular fair is April 2nd, and it's going to be from 12 p.m. noon to 2 p.m. So it's not open very long. So you want to get there right when it opens. Get there early, right as it opens, to ensure that the representative that you meet will be fresh and ready to go. Tip number 9, at the college fair, introduce yourself. And always try to ask the first question, not your parents. In fact, remember to ditch your parents. Say something like, "Hi, my name's J.D. Wyzolak. Can you tell me more about or can you tell me anything about the microbiology program?" And again, remember to use complete sentences. Tip number 10, ask the right questions. Don't ask the representative to evaluate your chances of admission. Instead, ask, what are the 2 or 3 coolest things about your college? What is your college's favorite tradition? Do you have any secret traditions? So at my college, Biola University in Los Angeles, our mascot was the eagle, and we had a giant 300-pound cement eagle egg, and it was painted gold. And occasionally that egg would disappear for a day or a couple days or a week and magically reappear somewhere else. It was a fun little tradition that we had. So you can ask some of those questions. We can figure out the admissions chances later on. Tip number 11, stay engaged when you're interacting with a college representative. Show that you are interested. There may be a lot of noise and distraction. Remember to smile and look them in the eyes. Tip number 12 is take some notes. These notes will help you remember things. Plus, you could use these notes to help you write your essay. Some colleges ask the essay question, why do you want to come to our college? So these notes can help craft a powerful response. I want to go to your college because when I went to the college fair and I talked with the recruiter, he said this. That influenced me to look more into the college and ultimately apply to your school. If you take notes on your phone or on a mobile device, let the person know who you're talking to that you're taking notes on your device and you're not just randomly texting somebody. By telling them that you're taking notes on your device, you're being polite and you're showing that you're staying engaged with that person. Remember tip 11? Tip number 13, remember to get the college representative's contact information or their business card. This is an important thing. Make sure you get that recruiter's business card. If you have any questions after the fair, you'll be able to reach back out to them because you have their contact information. So ask the college representative for a business card. Don't just, they may have at the booth, they've got a table, and on the table, they're going to have a bunch of literature, and they may have some business cards on there. Don't just walk up and grab the business card and walk away. Engage and talk with the recruiter. Introduce yourself and ask some questions. After the college fair, tip number 14, after the college fair, spend some time getting organized. Take a moment to sort through the brochures and business cards with the related notes. You took notes, right? Create a folder or something that, or put them all in a box where you can keep all this information together. Tip number 15, after the college fair, you may have some additional questions, or perhaps you visited one college booth early on that, and then visit another college booth later, and perhaps that college booth that you visited later on prompted some questions that you want to go back to the other booth and ask them. And we might be running out of time because it's getting close to 2 o'clock or so. Well, now you've got their business card. You can follow up with that college representative and ask those questions. And by following up and asking more questions, you are demonstrating interest. Demonstrating interest is important at every college. Tip number 16, after the college fair, follow up with a thank you email. Because you picked up the college representative's business card or got their contact information, you can follow up with a thank you. If you really want to stand out, send a thank you. Less than 1% of the students follow up with a thank you. This is one of the most important steps to make you stand out. The thank you email is really simple. Dear John Smith, lead recruiter. Use their full name and use their title, whatever their title is, lead recruiter, or maybe it's the dean of the college. Use their title and say something like, thank you for taking the time out to talk to me about the microbiology program at the college fair. Sincerely, Johnny, student. And remember to have that signature file that has your full contact information, first and last name, address, phone number, email, etc. And I want to reiterate, tip number 17 is check your email regularly. Set a reminder on your phone or mobile device to check your email at least twice a week. Okay, check your email regularly twice a week. The reason is because all colleges, all of them, are sending out emails. And if a student doesn't check the email on a regular basis, they could miss a deadline or miss an important communications or something. I was talking with a student just recently, and I asked him a couple questions, and I said, have you checked your email recently? Because there was, I don't remember all the details, but there was some event or deadline that was coming up for a particular college that the student applied to. And I said, have you checked your email? And that is, no. When's the last time you checked your email? I don't know. I said, well, check your email right now. And he's like, oh, I've got 1,000 emails in there. I'm like, okay, in the search bar, type in the name of the college. That email will pop up. Sure enough, it popped up, and there was an important announcement in there to do something. And he only had 2 days to complete that task. So check your email on a regular basis, at least twice a week. Whenever you're communicating with a college representative, admissions staff, college professor, etc., proper grammar and punctuation is very important. I want to restate that. So before you send an email or letter or an essay, reread it, read it out loud. Have a parent read it, or a counselor or teacher or one of your friends read it, and then correct it as needed. And read it out loud. The reason why I say read it out loud is because when you read something in your mind, in your head, sometimes your brain corrects things. But when you read it out loud, you can hear if something sounds funny or off, and you can correct it. So always use complete sentences and conclude with your full contact information. So whenever you're corresponding with a college representative, if you conclude with your full contact information, it will be easy for them to get back in touch with you because they have your contact information on everything that you send them. And I want to reiterate this one again. When you text someone, include your full name, because those recruiters are sending out 50, 100, or maybe even more text messages to hopeful college students. And a sincere thank you always help. Very few students actually send that thank you note. I was talking with the recruiter at Embry-Riddle in Prescott, and I asked the recruiter some questions. How long have you been a recruiter? He said 8 years. I asked, are you planning on changing jobs or anything? He's like, no, I love being a recruiter. I'm going to stay in that position. So these recruiters do stay in those positions for a long time. I met the recruiter for NAU a couple months back, and she also had been a recruiter for 8 or 9 years and didn't have any plans of changing that. When I asked that recruiter at Embry-Riddle those questions, one of the other questions I asked was, does your college value demonstrated interest? And he said, yes, we really do. And then the last question I asked was, out of the last 8 years that you've been a recruiter, how many students have sent you a thank you note? And the answer was 0. I was quite surprised by that. So thank them for telling you all about the weather, or where you can get a good deal on such and such or so. So please remember that thank you note. That's going to make you stand out. And the thank you note is simple. You don't have to go out and please don't go out and buy a whole bunch of Hallmark cards that say thank you or anything like that. A simple, sincere thank you on your email will be sufficient. When a recruiter comes to your high school and it's a college that you're interested in, meet that recruiter, ask that recruiter some questions, get that recruiter's business card so you can follow up with that, all important thank you. So a couple questions that you can ask at the college fair is, what's your best scholarship and what I need to earn it? And then, of course, do those things to earn that scholarship. What kind of student are you looking for? Then, of course, do those things. So if they say, we're looking for a student who has these grades and these test scores and does these things, well, do those things. A really great question to ask is, I'm interested in your school. What's my next step? Then, of course, follow their lead and do as directed. Or tell a friend about AZ College Planning. So go to the fair, collect information, get contact information, get the business cards of recruiters, follow up with that thank you, and call me and email me with any questions. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop the recording.